Let's turn now to some news here in France. And last Thursday, pharmacists closed their doors in a rare strike, the first of its kind in over a decade. They were protesting against government plans to relax online sales regulations, which those pharmacists fear could lead to some pharmacies closing down. Now, they also want to raise awareness about a shortage of medicine here in France. And to tell us a bit more, our science and health editor, Julia Seeger, is with me. And Julia, just first of all, tell us then, France is experiencing a medicine shortage?
That's right, and has been for several years now. If you look at the data, there has been more than 2,000 drug shortage reports in 2021 and more than 5,000 in 2023. So it more than doubled in 2 years. And as I said, it's not new. If you actually look back on the last 15 years, it's a problem that's been growing exponentially. And of course, it's a problem because it creates significant workload for health professionals. I was just talking to a pharmacist who told me that in the morning, the first thing he does is look at his stock to then pick up his phone, to call labs, to call wholesalers, colleagues, to try to find solutions for his patients. And according to a recent report, pharmacists in France spend at least 12 hours a week just trying to figure out those drug shortage problems.
And do we know why there is this shortage?
Well, there are several reasons why. You have to understand that it's a global issue, but it does affect France in a big way. The first thing is that the global medication market is under strain. The reason why is there are very few producers, that medication production is only in a very small number of raw material factories located in Asia, specifically in India and China. Just to give you an idea, 40% of generic medications are only made in 2 different laboratories worldwide, and 80% of what we call the active ingredients that are used in the medication and that are sold worldwide are made either in China or in India. That's just to show you how concentrated the market is. And that said, they then have to face a growing global demand, but also a global domestic demand, because India and China are the producers, but they're also becoming the biggest consumers of medication, which wasn't the case. And we only realized how linked we were and how dependent we were on China and India when COVID-19 struck. I don't know if you remember this, of course, Nadia, but China closed its borders and India stopped exporting paracetamol because they wanted to keep it for its own population. Now, there's also something that needs to be said about how labs have decided to change their production lines. So to reduce costs, they got rid of what we call backup factories. Those were used to really take over if there was an issue on the production line, and they also outsourced a lot of manufacturing. Now, as I said in the beginning, this is a global problem, but it's a huge problem for France. And one of the reasons why is our medicine is very cheap. As you know, sometimes we go to the pharmacy and we don't even pay for the medicine, which is incredible. But the problem is when you're a producer and you have to choose between selling a box of amoxicillin for, let's say, €1 to Romania versus 50 cents to France, then of course your choice is quickly made. And the last problem I want to underline is profitability. So more and more labs around the world are now choosing to favor drugs that are profitable. When I say profitable, I mean innovative drugs. Those are very expensive drugs. What we call mature medication and generic medication, they're patent-free. So you don't really make money out of it. And it's become a problem because more and more with time, laboratories around the world have brought on board investment funds. And so now they have shareholders who have a significant influence on the strategies that they have as a pharmaceutical company.
And just a final question, Julia, what, if any, solutions are there to what's clearly a complex problem?
Exactly. Well, there are many solutions, but of course it's a political issue. The government here in France has recently adopted a 3-year program to try to address the issue, and they plan to relocate, for instance, 25 strategic medications in France. You could also try to increase the cost of medication here in France, but of course that's not going to be, French people probably won't be favorable to that, but it seems like now drugs aren't profitable enough for manufacturers. But no matter what, it's a huge issue. It's an urgent political issue here in France.
Julia Seeger, really interesting. Thank you very much indeed for your reporting for us there.